If I had hair, I'll be ripping it out after watching the game last night. The two things I mentioned in the preview and in previous videos, that's a match preview of the Fulham game, actually happened and led to us not winning the match. I'm going to tell you what them two things were in just a minute. But the result itself, I said before, it was a must win, because if we want to progress and kick on from last season, we need to be winning matches like that with respect to Fulham and other teams of that level. We have to. However, if we're aiming for mid-table or around the same position as last season, then a point away to Fulham's great and we should celebrate it. But with the spending, with the new additions, with a bit of stability coming in now, it's just not good enough, especially playing so well and dominating the first match against Arsenal, but still losing. So now the problem, what I've mentioned, is the momentum now played to 1 point. It's that momentum where you start getting stuck with that stigma of, oh, nothing's really changed at United from last season. They're still struggling to pick up wins. They're still struggling to pick up points against the so-called lesser teams outside the big five or the big six. And they're just picking up the odd point here and there. Okay, that's not the fear factor we're looking for. We're looking to turn the page. We're looking to turn the corner. So I'm sorry, but a point isn't good enough. Now, the two things I'm talking about now, I'll go on to a bit more detail about the match itself and the play performances. But first, the two things that really worried me in my preview match against Fulham were the lack of a striker as a focal presence or an absolute target presence against Fulham. And second is defending wide areas, or basically defending principles, which are very, very basic, which cost us the goal. But I'm going to start off with the first one, which is the lack of a focal striker. The actual striker, what is going to dominate the defenders, use up space and create space for Cunha and Mbeumo to run into. Now, we started with Mason Mount, okay, and this worked really well against Arsenal because Mount, Cunha and Mbeumo could rotate throughout the game, and it was really good in the build-up and support play, exposing the gaps between the Arsenal backline, the defence and the midfield. And Cunha and Mbeumo was able to collect the ball and run from deep and just scare Arsenal and run them ragged. However, Fulham was always going to be a different game. Like I mentioned in the preview, I'm going to keep saying it because I did mention it. It's just how a coach thinks. It's how the normal fan or supporter can see and usually read the game as well. When you're playing at home against Arsenal, it's a different game than playing away against Fulham. In my opinion, we should have started SESKO because Fulham were going to sit a little bit deeper. They weren't going to be as open, although they were actually pretty open, but we didn't have that focal point to use as a target man, to use a hold-up play, to use as a presence. So this is where you found, yes, we did have some good transition play. We did have some good one-touch, slick interplay in the final third between the forward three of Mount, Mbeumo and Cunha. But we just lost our way. We ran out of ideas. And then we had Cunha and Mbeumo trying to do the same thing, attacking the same spaces, instead of having the actual striker, just like Fulham have, to drag the defence out of position and create that space for our runners to run into. We can't pick up the ball and just run at people every match. Yes, you can, but we need a different point of attack. We need to shift the defence. We need to shift the play. We need another outlet. That is why we spent all that money in SESKO, right? Which is coming on to the next point. Straight away, Fulham have a proper striker playing. Muniz started, and they had Jimenez on the bench. They even had Iwobi out on the wide, but you could say he is kind of a proper forward, a proper striker, although he's playing predominantly on the wing now. And United, we have SESKO, 80 million, nearly 80 million on the bench. And everyone's saying, yeah, but we're integrating him and, you know, it's going to take him some time to get up to speed. No, I'm sorry. I heard all this buzz about, oh, we're buying for the future. And then others saying, oh, we're buying for the now. We need results now. So we're bringing in SESKO. And he's on the bench. When you look at the opposing player at Arsenal, Gyökeres, where they've just thrown him in, people were making fun of him, saying he's clumsy, his technique's terrible. But now he's up and running. SESKO's still waiting now to even start a match. And as I mentioned, the longer this goes on, the more of a barren run it's likely for strikers to have when they're not getting minutes, when they're not getting confidence, when they're not getting shots off, when they're not getting opportunities. So what's happening now is SESKO's getting into that momentum where he's coming on, he's not had a fair chance to get any shots off, he's not had a fair chance or minutes to get opportunities to even score. And if this continues to happen, as time goes by, there's going to be more pressure on him. And I'm asking again, where's this money gone to? A striker, which I'm sorry, right now, okay, he's doing a few little nice bits and bobs here and there when he comes on. But you just paid 80 million for a striker. It should be direct, impactful, whether they're starting or they're coming on. If you're spending money on a top class, a world-class striker, which I'm sorry, he is not yet. He's a quality forward, attacking player, but is he a world-class striker? No. Because they know how to change games, whether they're coming on or they're starting. And we haven't got that in him. Gyökeres is up and running. Call him clumsy, call him club-footed, whatever you want to say. He's laughing now, and Arsenal are laughing because now they've got that focal point. They've got that prime striker threat where players are going to fear. And while they're focusing on him, other players are going to get in. That's what we need. We needed Gyökeres to be at United, to be that striker, what keeps the opposition busy. And then we've got Cunha and Mbeumo bombing on. But instead, we're bringing SESKO, which I'm sorry, he's looking like a giraffe out of water right now. I'm sorry, he really is. There's so many strikers in the world you could have paid half the money for who would look more in place in the team. He just looks out of place. It just doesn't look right. With our fast build-up play, our fast combination play in the opposition, in the final third, the opposition half, we're really rapid sometimes. And it just looks like he's lagging behind. And again, this isn't the quality that the money should be buying. It should be quality, everything he does. Not he's trying to head a ball which is already 5 foot taller than him. And that's still a decent height, right? And then he's heading it up or the wrong way. This shouldn't be happening. You're either top class or you're not. At this money, you need to be. Otherwise, is it an upgrade from Højlund? And I could be, and I most likely will be, and I hope I am proven wrong in the next few games. But right now, he's come off the bench and he's not had an impact. That's why he's brought off the bench, right? To make an impact. And he hasn't made an impact. So that was my greatest fear in the build-up to the Fulham match about the attacking presence or the lack of an actual striker. Can we just play with a striker, please? We don't want attacking midfielders. We don't want forwards rotating over time. We need to change it up. We just need to start a striker or buy another striker, just someone who wants to say, hey, I'm a striker. I'm actually going to try and shoot to score goals. I'm going to stay in the final third, just pick up the ball and try and do what a normal striker does. And the other thing is defending. If you look at it closely, look, I'm bringing up the images now so I can talk about it. In pre-season and against Arsenal, and for as long as I've been watching now at the start of the season, pre-season, we're not doing basic defensive principles or defending principles in wide areas or in any area, okay? You look at the goal in the image now, okay? Look how far we are away from the attacker. Defensive principle number 1. Immediately put pressure on the ball carrier. So whoever's got possession for opposition, the attacker, number 1, put pressure on them. You need to, otherwise they've got too much time to cross it. Okay, so we've already failed on defensive principle number 1. They put the cross in, okay? So get to the attacker, put pressure on. Number 2, delay. Can you turn them away from the goal? Can you push them away? Delay so you have backups so people can make recovery runs and get organised in the back defensive line. If you're delaying, can you win the ball? Can you nab it? Can you actually defend? So delay restructure, get organised. That's number 3. But if you can at some point win the ball here, okay, great. But you don't go in for the tackle, because wide areas, if they beat you, then they're through on goal most of the time. That's why we have pressure, delay, reorganise, defend. That's it. What did we do? Again, look at the space before he puts the cross in, okay? And now look at the start positions of when the ball's crossed in. And is this good enough marking? Okay, because who finishes up scoring the goal? Yeah, this player who wasn't marked in the first place, surprisingly, just by magic, still had the same amount of space, unopposed, without pressure, to slot home the equaliser. So I said this is a big problem. We had to defend wide areas. You have to stop crosses, especially when you're playing the back three or with wing backs. You need the players in position, recovery runs, and in position to defend. But then once you are in position, you need to stop the cross. You need to put pressure on the ball player. Don't let them cross. Don't let them shoot. And what do? Bad marking. So yes, they are the 2 things I was worried about. Yes, we did have some nice build-up play. We had some nice interaction with the midfield, the attack, the rotation, the 1-touch, the 2-touch combinations. Beautiful, great. But it started to look a little bit disjointed again, a little bit manic, and Fulham provided a different problem than Arsenal did, which is going to happen when you play different teams, home and away, depending if they're sitting back, depending if they want to counter you, depending if they're trying to dominate the ball. And that's another thing. We haven't got anyone who can hold on to possession. I mean, like a Scholes, who's actually just running the show, orchestrating the possession, who's passing, who's receiving again, who's holding on to the ball. Even Grealish for Everton now takes off pressure. He carries the ball, he takes pressure off in places where it just gives you a breather. I just think we just need some player to control the momentum. And we haven't got that. Yes, we can win it back and we can attack with great speed then, which is superb. But we just haven't got that control. That's why it got really frantic when we went 1-0 up. And by the way, again, we couldn't score from open play. Again, it's from a corner, it's from a set piece. This is a negative review this time because there's more negatives than positives. We hit the post twice. That would have possibly changed the dynamics of the game and the momentum of the match for sure. But they didn't go in. We missed a penalty, which again could have changed the dynamics. But it didn't go in. Then the goal we did score, like I said, was from a set piece, not from open play, and it was a deflection. And then the momentum, we just couldn't maintain it. We couldn't control the game, which is a big worry. It's all well and good having Cunha and Mbeumo, what looked like an absolute world-class cheat from FIFA or something, buzzing around everywhere, having banana shots bending around everywhere. Amazing. I love that. Yoro again, young Rio Ferdinand, or Rio Ferdinand was young when he started. So the next Rio Ferdinand, brilliant. But the keeper again, every set piece, every corner, disastrous. And even though we are looking for a replacement from Belgium, is he the Belgian #1 keeper? No. So are we replacing like for like? But by the way, yes, he didn't make too many mistakes. His ball playing was quite good actually, and he did make a couple of good saves. Fine, dear. This is obviously who I'm talking about. However, just not good enough. Defensive problem is going to continue to be a big problem, and we need to start controlling the game. And in midfield now, as you see, Casemiro, Bruno, it's not working. Again, Bruno's stats weren't that bad. Good recoveries, good forward passes, great. But it can't all revolve around him. Okay, we need that balance. And if we're looking at the game overall, Fulham had more ball possession, 52 to 48%, not a big difference. They had more accurate passes as well, just by 1%, 84% to 83%. They had more shots, 13 shots to our 10 shots. They had 4 shots on target to our 3 shots on target. And also, a lot of the player stats were dominated by Fulham players. So the stat that really sticks out to me were total shots. So Iwobi had 3 total shots. Cunha had 3 total shots. Muniz had 3 total shots. And Smith Rowe had 2. Bruno Fernandes had 2. Ahmad had 2. Josh King had 2. However, as you can see, Fulham played a striker, Muniz, who had 3 shots. And Iwobi, who's kind of an attacker forward, playing on the wide, also had 3 shots. Whereas our striker, we don't have a striker, but it was Cunha, had 3 shots. But Mbeumo and or Mount didn't have 3 shots, like 2 forwards or 2 attackers from Fulham. So the point I'm trying to get at here is, if you're not playing a striker, the striker can't shoot. And if you don't shoot, you're not going to score. And you may say, yeah, but on the aggregate, as long as we have shots on target from anywhere on the pitch. But I mean consistency. I mean the striker who's going to get 3 or 4 shots off a game. The likelihood is we're going to score more goals rather than having the odd midfielder or the wide attacking player or a forward or deep laying forward or false 9, what now and then gets 3 shots off. We need a striker. We need that focal point. This is what I like to see. Now, if SESKO is thrown in, is he going to be of that level? If he's one for another 2 or 3 years, why don't we stick with Højlund? They are my worries. Glory, glory, Man United. Remember to subscribe, and you can see more videos and playlists right here.